Hello everybody, I am Jarrett Ross, the Genie Vlogger, and welcome back to another Professional Genealogist Reacts. On today's video, I will be reacting to Proving with DNA That I Am Very White by CDawgVA. Now, this is a channel I'm slightly familiar with. He's someone who's been around YouTube for a long time and has shown up in a lot of various places. Granted, I've not seen a lot of his content directly, but my understanding is he's British, I believe, maybe some sort of Irish, but I don't know. Either way, we're going to expect a typical Northwestern European admixture, and based on his title of Proving with DNA That I'm Very White, I'm guessing that it's going to be all European, or at least largely European, but we'll have to see what type of an admixture we're getting. Is it just going to be the typical Northwestern European of British, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, French, German, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, or is it going to be a little bit more of a mixture with maybe some Southern European or Eastern European or maybe North African or Middle Eastern or something else going on? With all that said, let's just jump on into it.
I think at one point or another, we've all questioned, where am I from? What is my DNA? Am I as really white as I think I am? And that's why I bought 2 DNA testing kits to find out. I thought about buying just one, but then I thought it would be more fun if we had the same result twice.
Now, I know this is a 5-year-old video, and it felt like about 5 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago was when it really started, that a lot of YouTubers were basically doing DNA tests for the lulz, and a lot of them were like, I'm going to try to be extra scientific with it, and I'm going to do multiple companies, and let's see what the comparison is. So I wonder if he's going to kind of jump into that trope of, oh my gosh, look, these results aren't exactly the same. Or is he going to notice like, oh yeah, they're not exactly the same, but if you kind of break it down, it's basically the same, just slightly defined differently. And doing Ancestry and 23andMe, those are the 2 kits that are considered some of the best in terms of the admixture percentages. But if you're focused on genealogy and DNA matching like I am, and a lot of people in my community are, once you've tested on those sites, you'll want to download your raw data and upload it to the other sites that allow you to upload raw data, like MyHeritage and Family Tree DNA and Living DNA and GEDmatch.
Just to confirm that I am as white as I think I am. All right, before we get our results, right, before we go through this process, I should guess what I think it's going to be. I'm going to guess that it's like 99% like white British ethnic background. It's probably going to be a bit Scottish and a bit Welsh, but I think it's going to be mainly Scottish and English.
So if that's what he's expecting, I think we're really just going to get that Northwestern European. It'll be interesting to see how he responds if he gets any Scandinavian results, but that's not going to be, you know, out of the norm. But one thing to mention too is that for a lot of people that come from British ancestry, if you want to try to get your most nuanced results, look at Living DNA, because they give the best granular breakdown of the results. So instead of just saying England or things like that, it shows you where in England.
I am actually Welsh. I was born in Wales. I can speak fluent Welsh, all that fun stuff. All right, let's start spitting away. God, I feel like I'm a cam girl right now, you know, like $5 and I'll spit on your face. Kit number 2, this is the 23andMe one. This one, like the box itself is a lot fancier than the Ancestry one, but it is way more expensive, so I would hope that it's fancier in some aspect.
Big difference between 23andMe and Ancestry at that point was the fact that 23andMe also gave health results, whereas for Ancestry, they did have an Ancestry health thing for a while. I don't know when it rolled out, but I don't think they have it anymore, and it was an extra expense that you had to pay for. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people that paid for it aren't that happy that it's gone.
Biospecimen bag. Jesus Christ, looks like I'm about to do some bioterrorism with my spit. Why do they all want you to spit for so much?
They need a lot of DNA.
The thought that someone has to edit this makes me laugh so much. Have you guys ever thought about doing a DNA test?
Kenny.
We have our DNA results. Will we confirm today that I am indeed the whitest human being alive? Let's start with Ancestry, because that was like significantly cheaper. Nice. 58% England, Wales, and Northern Western Europe, Ireland, and Scotland. Okay, basically I never left the UK and neither did my family. Okay, all right. Oh wow, that's kind of creepy. Northwest England and Isle of Man, Cheshire.
So what he's looking at now, that's the communities, which gets very specific because it's basing this on your DNA matches. Basically, it looks at your DNA matches, the family trees they've connected to their results, and then scouring those family trees, it says, we see a lot of people identifying these areas as where their ancestry is from, which indicates that more than likely that's where your ancestry is from as well. So they give you those communities, and based on what he said about being Welsh, I'm guessing maybe that's the area that his family is from in Wales, I guess.
Merseyside and South Lancashire. How does it know? How did it know? I'm literally from this area, like here. I'm literally from, I grew up there. And all of my older family is from like here. That is so creepy. So my second name is Scottish, so that's kind of not surprising that there's some Scottish in there. And also the other half of my family is all from Scotland. My ancestors were like, yeah, this is a pretty nice place. Let's just stay here. Maybe we'll step a little bit in the fence. Maybe. I don't really know. What is it going to say about my health? Oh, God. Will it tell me that I'm dying? Am I dying? Is that what I could do? Oh, I got to pay? Oh, that, dude. I already paid so much for the other one.
So that was already rolled out at that point, I guess. But yeah, Ancestry was charging extra to get the health results, and so I'm guessing the 23andMe one he probably paid for the extra to get the results, because both their DNA tests at this time were basically $100 for the regular DNA test, $200 for the DNA test with the health results, and then it would often go on sale too. So it could have also been that he just got 23andMe's when it was on sale and Ancestry's wasn't.
23andMe, this was the expensive one.
Interestingly enough, I would actually say Ancestry is better than 23andMe, and especially in terms of the genealogy and the database and all of that. Ancestry has way better tools. They have a much larger database. They actually, have a lot of stuff that they're constantly rolling out to improve things for genealogists. And even more, their whole database has been geared towards genealogy before they ever got into DNA testing. Whereas 23andMe, their whole thing has been the whole, health thing. And, I did that recent reaction to Company Man's video about the 23andMe decline and, all the stuff going on with that. And we talked a lot about in that video, a lot of the issues with 23andMe, and especially how they really have not done any justice to the genealogy community, which I think they kind of owe the genealogy community in a sense that we're the ones that got the most people to test with their company. Maybe I'm just biased on that, but go watch that video if you want to see that one. But after the end of this video first.
Tell me.
So more readings than the other one.
4% British.
But still largely, yeah.
Dude, I'm 99.5% European.
And then he's just getting some of that general Northwestern European mixture, the French and German, the Scandinavian, the actual broadly Northwestern European reading. And then for the communities here, we see London and then County Cork are the number 2, which obviously he was not looking in those areas as, this is where I live and this is, what Ancestry had identified as his ancestral location communities. But here, one of the issues with why you get these large cities or larger counties in the readings is that if you're coming from some sort of ancestry where there's a certain city or region that is very heavily populated compared to the other areas in that country or whatever, then you often will find those rising towards the top, because even if your family doesn't necessarily come from there, you have a ton of relatives and DNA matches who have that connection through other lines of their family as well. So whenever you're looking on 23andMe and you see these results for whatever cities or whatever they're giving you for their communities, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, just understanding that some of the ones at the higher end, if they are very large populated areas like London or County Cork compared to the rest of that country, then that may be why it's towards the top.
Basically, I'm 99% white. They're like, actually, we think maybe 0.1% of you is somewhere else, which is probably the margin of error anyway.
Yeah, with 0.1%, that is well below the margin of error. The margin of error for these tests is generally about 1%. So usually whenever you see anything under 1%, it's often called a trace result, or will sometimes be separated to say this is trace. So kind of like what was there.
Really? Huh. I don't know any of my family that has ever lived in London. Tell me more about my DNA. The British Isles have been continuously occupied by humans for the last 11,000 years. Am I surprised that these are the results? No. It just confirms that I should never ever dance. Alright, let's figure out. I want to see my health stuff. Customizing based on...
Yeah, so just like I said, he probably paid for the 23andMe with the health stuff, which is why it was more expensive. And Ancestry, he got the one without the health stuff. And that's why there's the disparity of what the cost was.
Bro, you scared me there for a second. I thought I was going to have diabetes. 12% chance? I'll take a 12% chance on anything. Tutorial required before. What is all this? Okay. Slightly in celiac disease. Wow, I'm gonna die. Connor, you have one of the 2 genetic variants we tested. What does slightly increased mean? I eat so much gluten. When will it happen to me?
Slightly increased just means that they have looked at specific spots on your DNA that studies have said correlates to this disease. And if you have that variant, which basically just means that at that spot on your DNA, instead of it being an A, it's a G. So instead of adenine, it's guanine. And when you have that variant, that just means we usually find this variant with people who do have celiac disease. It doesn't mean you're going to have celiac disease. It just means that since you have that variant, there's a higher likelihood. But there's a lot of variants that go into these different diseases. And whenever you see something where it isn't an increased risk, you do want to look more into it. The thing to do is to go to an actual doctor, go to an actual genetic counselor, get proper genetic health screens where these tests, they can give you an indication of what to be worried about. Never take these as a final result of, yes, I have this really high risk and I'm going to have it. Or even on the opposite side, if it says you have no variants associated with a higher risk, well, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get that. It just means that the variants that they're associating with it, you don't have. But you may have all the other variants that you need for it, or, it's a much more complicated thing than just that single variant.
Wow, I might get Alzheimer's. This is terrifying. What does this mean? It's just scaring me. That's all it's doing. Oh, okay. Here we go. Lifetime risk. 20 to 23% chance at age 85. Bro, I didn't even plan to make it at age 85. I just realized I paid 150 pounds for this. And that's 74 pounds.
These tests are always on sale, people. If it's not on sale now and you have a tight budget, just wait a bit. It's gonna be on sale soon.
What have we learned today? Other than Ancestry was really bad and 23andMe was much better. But, normally when people do these, they see the little, oddities in their DNA and all the cool countries that they're from. I have learned that my family never left the UK. I'm probably one of the whitest people alive right now, and I'm a Neanderthal. But thank you so much for watching, my beautiful weebs.
Okay, that was a mediocre video. Nothing that amazing. Pretty typical for DNA videos from around this time, 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever. Pretty much what we expected for the results. He honestly had a pretty good idea about things in general. Like, I kind of was hoping for him to make a little bit of a deal when he saw with 23andMe that there was, the French and German and some Scandinavian in there, but he didn't really even say anything. He was basically just like accepted it as, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Although I don't know if he actually said that it makes sense. But otherwise, didn't really talk at all about the DNA matches other than we saw hiding in certain spots when we were doing the reaction. But that's the thing I'm always hoping people will dive into. And with Ancestry and 23andMe, he probably has a lot of DNA matches on both of those sites, possibly numbering in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And I mean actual DNA matches of people, tens of thousands of people. But unfortunately, the video really wasn't anything that special. But if you did enjoy this reaction and want to see more reactions, be sure to check out this video of mine right here. Thank you to my Patreon patrons and YouTube members.